Tonight, a call for change. The family of a dedicated carer stabbed to death by a woman with psychiatric problems say better treatment options must be found for high-risk patients.
I still feel that the person's not been put in the right place, because the right place didn't exist for her in Scotland.
Also making the headlines, an emergency polling station opens in Edinburgh after concerns over the delivery of postal ballots.
We take to the tracks as the old Glasgow Subway trains reach the end of the line.
And Conor Barron says he can handle any abuse from Aberdeen fans after signing for Rangers. I'm Emma Cameron in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Michelle Rutherford was a dedicated carer who loved her job. In March of last year, the mother of two went to work at supported accommodation in Stirling and didn't come home. The 54-year-old was stabbed to death by a resident who was later detained without limit of time.
Michelle's grieving family feel angry and let down as there was nowhere appropriate in Scotland to treat a high-risk female killer. They say this led to lengthy delays, misinformation and distress throughout the judicial process. They're to meet with ministers to demand change to what they describe as a flawed system. Michelle's family has been speaking to our chief reporter, Sharon Frew.
My mum loved her job. She was always going above and beyond for her work. I know everybody kind of says it, but I think my mum was just one of the kindest people.
Amy and William Rutherford had been at home on the morning of the 7th of March last year when they got a call telling them that 54-year-old Michelle had been taken to hospital. It was only once they arrived they found out that the carer who worked in supported accommodation had been stabbed by a resident. The mother of two died from her injuries.
I think the fact it was to happen in a job that she put so much into and had so much love for, it's just, makes it worse, especially in a low-risk care. Like, my mum wasn't even involved with this woman. It wasn't her, she didn't support her or anything.
Michelle had been in a flat used as a staff hub when Kellyanne McNaughton attacked her and two of her colleagues with a knife. The 33-year-old, who has a personality disorder, had no previous history of violence. But in the days before, staff were so concerned about her erratic behaviour they had called police and had attempted to refer her for psychiatric help. In January, McNaughton admitted culpable homicide on the grounds of diminished responsibility.
Nobody really sat down and told us anything. We kind of got told when the court case happened, you would find out details and stuff. There wasn't a court case. She basically pleaded guilty, so we're still waiting on loads of answers. I still feel that the person's not been put in the right place, because the right place didn't exist for her in Scotland.
Scotland's high security facility at the State Hospital at Carstairs only treats men. For months, Michelle's family returned to court again and again. Experts described the process of finding McNaughton a suitable placement as incredibly complicated. Eventually, a bed was found in a medium secure hospital in Wales. Before granting the restriction order, the judge said the court could only act on expert advice.
If somebody does something and the criteria says they need to go into a high-risk facility, then that's where they need to go, because they're going to get looked after better in there, and the people are going to be safer about them.
We obviously don't have too much compassion, but we want them to get what they need as well. As we said, the system's not only failed us, but it's failed them as well.
The State Hospital stopped treating women in 2008. Since then, a small number have been transferred to England and Wales at substantial cost. A review commissioned by the Scottish Government 3 years ago branded this practice as indefensible. It called for a female service to be opened at Carstairs within 9 months of its publication.
What they might have done might be heinous to us all, but they're ill, and so it's about treatment. And so I think women should be treated equally to men. At the time of the review, there was an empty ward in the state hospital, and it was a separate one. I didn't think it was beyond us to be able to repurpose that for women. This is a very small subset that requires specialist, highly specialist care, and I don't think they should be forgotten.
Michelle's relatives are to meet with the Justice Secretary and the Public Health Minister soon. In a statement, Angela Constance said her thoughts and sympathies are with the Rutherford family and that work is ongoing to resolve delays and to find a sustainable solution.
We don't need another report on it. You just need to do what the last report says. It's not wasting time.
There's no way anything we're doing is going to bring my mum back. Something that would give us a little bit of peace is if we know there is a correct facility for them to be in.
Can't happen to anybody else. Definitely.
Sharon Frew, STV News.
With less than a week until the general election, Edinburgh Council has opened an emergency polling station because of concerns over the delivery of postal ballots.
92,000 were sent out in the city in the last week. And while it's not yet clear how many haven't been received, the body responsible for overseeing elections says there have been major problems. A senior reporter, Gordon Cree, has been following the story. So Gordon, what more do you know?
Well, John, this is a big deal because up to a quarter of Scots are potentially postal voting this time. We know that in Edinburgh alone, tens of thousands have been sent out, but some people, it's not clear how many, just haven't received them. Now, one of the reasons it's more popular this time is with election date being into the school holidays. Some voters who are planning to be away were hoping to cast their ballot in advance. People in that situation are being told that over the next couple of days they can come here to the city chambers, collect a ballot paper and then put it in the post box outside.
The last day that you were able to, I requested my postal vote, and every day this week been getting a bit more anxious. It hasn't arrived because I'm going away next week. Tomorrow morning I'm going away. It's a relief that I've done it, definitely, yeah.
Now, if you're already on holiday and won't be back before next Thursday, it's already too late. You won't be able to do anything. The returning officer is stressing this facility is only for people who have applied for a postal ballot and haven't received it.
It's really specifically for people who are going away this weekend, whose postal votes haven't arrived. We honestly don't know whether that's hardly any people or more. We know there's been some delay. Many people have voted by post already, but we do know there's been some delay, so we wanted to give people that extra facility, that extra assurance.
Now, we're hearing of similar problems with delivery in other council areas, Fife, West Lothian, East Dunbartonshire, East Renfrewshire, among those telling us they're putting special arrangements in place. And with politicians already worried about the impact of this on the election result, I think this is an issue we're going to hear a lot more about in the days to come. John.
Gordon in Edinburgh, thank you.
Well, if you've got your vote sorted, it's issues like the economy, the cost of daily life and taxes that are at the forefront of minds. Marginal seats like those in the newly redrawn constituency of Lan East are a key battleground. Our reporter Vanessa Taff has been speaking to locals and the candidates.
Trying to make a splash with their policies this election, the parties in Lan East have been jumping over backwards to win over voters. But some think the campaign so far has been a bit of a flop.
It's about getting the economy going, because none of the politicians seem to know how to run the economy, because Britain at the moment, we're not exporting enough, we've got no manufacturing. We just don't seem to be able to understand that.
I'm worried about the cost of living, because I think as a pensioner living on pensions, I am concerned about how the future will pan out.
This is the first election to be contested here since the boundary was redrawn. This constituency now no longer contains most of Musselburgh. But what makes it interesting here is just how much of a very marginal seat this is, and that's making it a top target for Labour.
Hoping there'll be a response to their campaign, a familiar face is seeking another chance at government. A former cabinet minister and veteran of the last Labour administration.
How does it feel to be dubbed the comeback kid? Is that a name you're embracing?
Well, let's wait and see the judgment that people here in East Lothian reach on the 4th of July. I'm taking nothing for granted. I'm thoroughly enjoying the campaign. We've got to make the case that politics can actually make people's lives better. The road to Downing Street runs through a constituency like this. It's simply arithmetic. The more Labour MPs we get, the more likely it is that we'll have more Labour MPs than Conservative MPs.
The SNP won this seat in 2019, but their MP defected to Alba. Now, the party's latest candidate plans to use her local connections to her strength.
Rural poverty is a significant issue in East Lothian. Fuel poverty in particular, massive. There's a very clear proposition for the voters in Lothian East. Do they want someone who, kudos to Douglas, he has got a lot of experience on a global platform. Do they want someone to do that, or do they want someone to fight the cause for their local community?
Working for years with care-experienced young people in the local area and across Scotland, the Lib Dem candidate wants to bring that empathy to politics.
I look what I did for children in the care system. I've really enabled and listened to the pain and suffering of a community that has had the worst outcomes in our society for generations, and enabled them to find their unified and collective voice as a care experienced community. We're also an agrarian and fishing community as well. You look at the consequence of Europe. Nobody's talking about Europe. We used to sell langoustine in 24 hours. It would be fished and landed in Dunbar Harbour, and it'd be in the plate within France within 24 hours. Now the bureaucracy in that makes that almost impossible.
The impact of Brexit mightn't have some voters jumping for joy, but the Tory candidate believes there's more that can be done to support the local economy and businesses.
Whilst I know there is criticism out there, it was the Conservatives that brought in all the COVID support grants, that brought in furlough, which saved the economy effectively. There's so many businesses I've spoken on, particularly in the high street, small traders, which if they didn't have had the COVID grants or the furlough scheme, they simply wouldn't be in business.
While it's all calm on the surface, parties in this constituency are working furiously underneath it all as the campaign enters its final days. Vanessa Taff, STV News in Lothian East.
And the full list of candidates is on screen now and on the STV News website.
The great summer getaway has begun as schools across the Central Belt break up for the summer holidays. Tens of thousands of families have jumped on flights today to head for the sunshine. Glasgow Airport is expected to be its busiest since 2019, with around 600,000 passengers over the next 3 weeks.
My husband was poorly, so he passed away a couple of years ago, so this is a kind of first holiday away.
We don't usually go away in the summer holidays, to be honest. This is the first time going abroad with the kids.
Trying to beat the heat, so we're going early.
It's raining in Glasgow and I'm excited to go in India and it'll be so hot there.
Happy holidays. To other stories, and a man has been arrested after a woman was found dead at a house in Glasgow's East End. Officers were called to Tummel Street in Ridley last night. Police say the death of the 36-year-old woman is being treated as suspicious, and a 32-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an alleged assault.
There will be a further delay to the handover of the first of 2 ferries being built at the Ferguson Marine Shipyard for CalMag. Delivery of the Glen Sannox had already been delayed to the end of July, but has now been postponed again to the middle of August.
They're an iconic part of Glasgow's transport network, and today the last of the old generation of subway trains made their final journey around the City Loop. Our reporter Ollie Dickinson was there as they took the tracks for the final time.
One last shugle down the track for the subway trains that have kept the city moving for generations. And it was standing room only on this final service, packed with memories of the iconic Clockwork Orange.
I was here when they were introduced in 1977, so I actually remember the older style than this. So at the time they just felt really modern.
These are all the trains that are from my childhood are all now finally being withdrawn, so it's a bit of a sad day to see them go.
Well, this young man loves a subway and a train, so we did the search for all the new ones coming on, and it took us 3 or 4 tries to find it, didn't it? And now we had to be in for the last one coming off.
I was born in Scotland Street, and the Sugarly trains used to run underneath my house. So from Scotland Street I've been born and bred with this shugle.
These trains have become a Glasgow institution. They've carried commuters, weekend adventurers, football fans, and even those doing the infamous Glasgow Subcrawl. Over millions of miles, thousands of journeys, and hundreds of days over the last 44 years. They've even been graced by royalty. Since that launch in 1980, these Glasgow Subway carriages have been taken into people's hearts and, in some cases, their homes.
So I have a cushion here that is the same fabric as the seats, as you can see, that I got online. And I just thought to mark the passing of the trains, it would be important to have a wee bit of it to remember them.
This is what will replace them. The new Subway carriages are already in operation, offering better access, more space and a modern look. But for so many, these orange ones are irreplaceable. A slice of Glasgow history that has finally reached the end of the line. Ollie Dickinson, STV News, Glasgow.
He's here. It can mean only one thing.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
Good evening. Conor Barron says he can handle any abuse from Aberdeen fans after signing for Rangers. The midfielder, who came through the Dons Academy, has thanked his former club for helping with his development and says he can't wait to get his Ibrox career underway.
Your hands, kid. Yeah.
A come on for the cameras from Conor Barron as he becomes the third summer addition at Rangers. The 21-year-old has joined the Ibrox club on a 4-year deal after his contract at Aberdeen came to an end.
It's such a big club with great people, great staff and a great following. And the decision was made easy as soon as I spoke to the club. It's the only place I wanted to be, and as I said, yeah, I can't wait to get going.
Some Aberdeen fans are unhappy Barron has made the switch from Pittodrie to Ibrox, given the history between the two clubs.
To be honest, I haven't seen anything. All I do is focus on my job on the pitch, and I don't go on social media or anything like that. That's not my job. My job is to go out on the pitch and perform and let the football do the talking.
You're saying you blocked it out from social media. If you were to encounter that, do you believe you're kind of big enough to be able to handle that?
Yeah, it doesn't get to me, not at all. Doesn't get to me. When you're at the size of a club like Rangers, that can't get into your head. If it does, then there's a problem.
As Barron came through Aberdeen's youth ranks, the Dons are due compensation from Rangers. The two clubs have yet to agree a fee, so a tribunal could decide. He's excited to make his Ibrox debut, but due to delays to building works at the stadium, Rangers may play some of their home games at the start of the season at another venue. So, what do the players make of this situation?
We haven't spoke about it, to be honest. That gets handled out with the dressing room, and as I said, our job is on the pitch and in training and making sure we're the best versions of ourselves every day, and we're a team, and wherever that may be, we'll be, and we just need to make sure we go into the season strong and pick up the 3 points.
Philippe Clement has added to his coaching staff, with Andres Uldering joining his team. The head of referees at UEFA says Scotland weren't awarded a penalty in their final Euro 2024 match against Hungary because VAR-ruled Stuart Armstrong had initiated physical contact against defender Willie Orban.
The situation was checked by VAR, but for the VAR was no intervention because towards the defender, and for his opinion was just a physical contact trying to challenge the defender.
New Hibs signing Marvin Ekpiteta says he wants to continue moving up in his career after signing a 3-year deal at Easter Road. The central defender joins from Blackpool, where he played in the English Championship and League One. Head coach David Gray says the 28-year-old brings experience and leadership to his squad. To tennis, and Andy Murray has been drawn against Thomas Mahach in the first round of Wimbledon. Murray's participation in the tournament is in doubt after undergoing surgery on a spinal cyst at the weekend. The former world #1 says he'll wait until the very last minute to decide if he's fit enough to play his match, which is scheduled to take place on Tuesday next week. Cameron Norrie will face Diaz Acosta in the first round. That, folks, is all your sport tonight. Have a great weekend. See you again next week.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
Well, time to check out the weekend weather forecast now with Philip.
A spell of wows will gradually settle into a scattering of traditional tapas. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Well, as we head towards this weekend, things are remaining slightly changeable. We'll see some spells of rain and showers at times. Come Sunday, though, it will be a slightly improving picture. A drier day to come thanks to a ridge of high pressure. But overall, our temperatures are below average. Sunset times over the next couple of days around 10 o'clock at night, and sunrise times 4:30 a.m. Back to just now, we're still seeing some of those showers around that we've seen through the course of the day. Gradually, though, those will start to ease. For many central, southern and eastern parts, though, some late evening sunshine around, and then it will be remaining dry with some clear spells through the second half of the night. So a bit of a chillier night to come compared to the past couple of evenings. Lows of around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius in rural spots. Looking ahead to tomorrow morning, there are the odd shower around first thing, but then it's a fine, dry and bright start by the time many of us are wakening up, and very little changes through the course of the afternoon. Holding on to the largely dry and bright conditions, it's not until evening time we start to see that thicker cloud spreading in from the north and the northwest. And the best of the brightness, temperatures reaching highs of 17 Celsius. Then looking ahead to Sunday, like I said, we've got a ridge of high pressure building in across Scotland. It puts us into a northwesterly airflow, dragging in slightly cooler air, keeping our temperatures below average, but generally a fine and dry day. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, a 10-year-old boy from Renfrewshire is reaping the rewards of his hard work after achieving every badge available from the Cub Scouts.
Yes, he was awarded his 57th patch last week, and now he has so many there's no space left to sew them on his uniform. Well, Caitlin Hutchison went along to meet him.
I promise to do my best to do my duty to the King, to uphold the Scout values and to keep the Cub Scout law.
It's earned him bragging rights for the rest of his Cubs career. A whopping 57 badges. So many they no longer fit on his Cub Scout uniform. And getting them all has been no mean feat.
I'm quite impressed with myself because I just came here to have fun.
Ice cream! It's taken a lot of grit and determination, and he's had to push himself out of his comfort zone more than once or twice.
Weeks, even months of badge work, and sometimes it's not fun, but at the end you're getting a badge for it, it doesn't matter. One of them was horse riding. My horse kept sneezing and it was really scary because it ducked its head right down and then it came straight back up and I thought, I'm going to fall.
But with one clear mission in mind, he was soon flying towards success.
I have not witnessed it before, and as far as I'm aware, he's the only one in Scotland this year to have attained all of these badges.
With his little sister Maisie already a committed member of the Squirrels, the feeling of winning all of those badges isn't a patch on being an inspirational big brother. Caitlin Hutchison, STV News in Johnston.
Oh, what an achievement. Well done to Kyle.
Well done indeed. Thank you from all of us for watching. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.